Rockets and Knicks were in Game 5 when O.J. started that fateful drive. His four-way hazard lights were blinking, and no one knew what the juice was thinking.
I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Mattawa, La Paloma, Bangor, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Tocopilla, Barranquilla, and Padilla. I'm a killer. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I've traveled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
This is Oversight Live, your advocate for good governance. We're putting the site back in. Oversight. Here's the watcher on the wall, your host, Ben Carpenter.
Hey, good evening, Alaskans. Welcome to Oversight Live. This is Ben Carpenter, your host for this evening. And I guess your host every night because I'm the only one. Sorry, having a little clicking the right buttons this evening. All right, it's a Friday. Let's see, what is Oversight Live, you wonder? Well, Oversight Live is an answer to a problem that the state of Alaska has. Our capital and legislature is only accessible by plane or by ferry, and it's cost prohibitive for most Alaskans to get down to Juneau to engage with our government. And so providing oversight over our elected representatives is, and our government officials is a larger challenge than it is for other Americans in other states. So Oversight Live is your road to Juneau until one can be built. A lack of a road is a major inconvenience for us, but with today's technology, it's not a valid excuse for not staying informed and knowing what's going on. So we're going to bring you convenient and relevant content so that you can be informed and educated and know the actual truth, because it is the truth. I'm gonna clip and show you the actual meetings. You can listen to it, and you don't have to filter this through some liberal media bias. You are going to have my bias, and I'm unabashedly a fiscal conservative, social conservative, and so I'm upfront with that. You have the opportunity to engage with me and with others through your social media app. If you've got questions during the live show, text them in your social media app, and then they'll come to me and we'll address it. We'll dialogue. If you're watching the recording and you have questions, then email me at producer@oversightlive.com, and I will do my best to answer your questions. If either way you've got good question, there's a likelihood that others are going to have a similar question. So don't be surprised if we use it on air for the edification of all of us. So we're also going to attempt to have fun. Some of politics and government can be dry at times, but we cannot get weary in well-doing, and having fun is just a state of mind. So on this Friday evening, after a long week, we're going to try to have some fun with this. So without further ado, I said yesterday, and somebody had requested that we reference or watch a speech on the House floor given yesterday by Representative Will Stapp, who represents in the House from the interior of Alaska. And so I've clipped his short floor speech in special orders, which occurs at the end of the floor session. Each legislator is given an opportunity to speak about things that are on their mind. And this is the opportunity that Representative Stapp took to speak on some things that are pertinent to what we're talking about here. So I thought I would bring this speech forward. We'll give it a listen to, and then I'll take your feedback and your comments on what you think. So let me get this teed up here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the topic of you reap what you sow.
Representative Stapp.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, little discerning news that came out the other day, Mr. Speaker, is we held federal lease sales and state lease sales in Cook Inlet, and they drew a whopping 0 bidders, minus the one $600 bid that was on state land, Mr. Speaker. There's a lot of reasons for that. You know, Cook Inlet's a very mature field. The operating and capital costs for investment are very high. But there's another reason, Mr. Speaker, that we also are in control of this body, and that is our consistent desire to look that we are an unreliable partner to industry of oil and gas, Mr. Speaker, by constantly talking about how we may want to make dramatic changes to investment structure. Every year I've been in this body, there's been a conversation about how we should make dramatic changes to the way companies look to invest in capital amortization in our state. And I can't help but wondering that if you were on the outside looking in, Mr. Speaker, you might think the state of Alaska is a relatively unreliable partner when it comes to long-term investments in these industries. And my fear is if we continue to go down this pathway without being methodical and meticulous in our actions and things that we say, this will probably be the first of many types of leases that have no interest, Mr. Speaker, because why would someone be interested in investing in the state of Alaska when there's a lot more reliable partners elsewhere? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well said, Representative Stapp. Well said. We had a conversation last night about House Bill 275, and I'm going to bring that up here to show you one portion of the bill that I wanted to highlight tonight, and some additional conversation that's gone on out in the commenting sphere. So how do you get to Senate Bill 275? Well, as luck would have it, I know how to show you how to do that. So go to akleg.gov. That's akleg.gov. In this box up here that says enter bill, code, or statute, you just type in Senate Bill space 275. And you know what? That sucker's going to come up. You can search in a keyword or a person's name or whatever. You can search in there. You can search a statute in there. If you have a particular statute and you want to know what it says, then you can search that statute in that box as well. All right, so here is Senate Bill 275. It's currently in Senate Resources. Then it's going to Finance on the Senate side before it goes over to the House to be heard in the House. Short titles, natural gas projects, income tax surcharge. The sponsor, the creator of the bill, the individual legislator, is not listed here because it's a Senate Resources bill. It's a Senate Resources Committee bill. So that means it's a chair bill. The committee chair has authorized it to be brought forward. It could be because the chair wants to see the bill come forward. It could be at the expressed desire and wish of the majority of the members on the committee. But nonetheless, it is a committee bill. The legislature has reached the point in the second session where personal legislation, meaning legislation that's sponsored by a particular legislator, is no longer allowed. So you can't sponsor new legislation. But committees can sponsor new legislation all the way up to the end of the session. So if you want to know what's going on with the bill, the actions are listed right here as to what is the current status of it. That's under actions. If you want to read the bill, you click on full text. If you want to look at other documents, you click on the other documents, and if they're listed there, they'll show up. You want to find out what meetings that bill was heard in or when it's scheduled. Like, for example, here, the next meeting that this bill is scheduled for is March 13th at 3:30 p.m. at Senate Resources. If there are amendments to the bill, you can click on amendments and see it. Fiscal notes, meaning that's what the bill's impact is on the finances or the budget. Those will be listed there. So we're going to click on full text, and then you just click on this PDF, and the whole bill will pop up. Bam, just like that. So we don't care about the table of contents right at the moment. I want to highlight Section 9 because Mr. Representative Will Stapp was just talking about good partners. And this portion of the bill, in my opinion, is a poison pill. Okay, Section 9. It is going to amend AS 3125 by adding a new section. So this is not current statute. It's going to be read new section, new law. And it will be known as, if it's passed, it'll be known as AS 3125-125, state ownership of projects. And this is key. This is an interesting thing. So Section 9 establishes that the state may not acquire an interest in a revenue generating project unless the interest is approved by the legislature by law. So that means it would have to go through a committee process and the legislature would have to approve it by the passing of a bill. It establishes that an option for the state to acquire an ownership or management interest in the project must allow the state to exercise this option for at least 180 days after the project completion, with or without state investment. It establishes that the legislature shall act as a prudent investor and be granted information necessary to act as such. This includes information related to the project, such as all financial records or related to the revenue generating project. Establishes AGDC, the Alaska Gasline Development Corporation, or any other entity participating in a revenue generating project is required to cooperate with and assist the legislature in determining whether to invest, and must provide information requested to the legislature related to the project. This includes requiring corporation representatives or other investing entities to be available to testify during public hearings of legislative committees. So specifically, the section that is, I think, the absolute worst, why we would think that you would ever get a project through, is this subsection 2 here. Allow the state to exercise the option for at least 180 days after the date on which the corporation determines that the revenue generating project will be completed with or without state investment. Okay, so it's saying that at any point in time, the state legislature can decide through law, through a vote, a majority vote in the legislature, to take ownership of a project. And they can vote to do that up to 180 days after the project is completed. And it doesn't matter whether the state invested in the project or not. Think about that for a second. Who in their right mind, which company would come to Alaska and participate in resource development in Alaska if, after they have invested a bunch of money to get their project set up, the state steps in and says, oh, we're going to take over the project because we passed a law. You work with partnership through, like the state says, hey, come on and be our partner. We'll do this in good faith. And then 180 days later is like, nope, we're going to take ownership of the project. This is complete nonsense. I think the news article by Suzanne Downing kind of summed it up for me today. I want to show that here. So she says, just when you think things can't get any worse in the Alaska legislature, someone shakes the crazy tree in Juneau and all the nuts roll into the Capitol. This year, that tree appears to have Senator Kathy Giesel, Senate Majority Leader, as one of the nuts falling off the crazy tree. Senator Giesel is the chair of Senate Resources and the sponsor of Senate Bill 275 that we were just looking at. Once considered a reliable supporter of Alaska's oil and gas industry, Giesel has undergone what can only be described as a remarkable political transformation. I'll say. Her latest legislation, Senate Bill 275, reads like a blueprint for sabotaging the largest economic opportunity Alaska has seen in, well, ever. Alaskans should be asking a simple question. How does the bill How does 275, Senate Bill 275, advance the Alaska LNG project? Isn't that what we were asking yesterday? How does this help? The short answer is it doesn't. It appears to do the opposite. The Alaska LNG project is on the cusp of becoming a reality. Global instability, particularly in the Middle East, has investors looking hard at stable energy suppliers. Alaska suddenly looks attractive again. Asian buyers are paying attention. Energy markets are tightening. This is precisely the moment when Alaska should be sending a signal that it is open for business. Instead, Giesel's Senate Bill 275 sends a different message entirely. Political interference, regulatory uncertainty, and the possibility of state takeover, socialism. Out of one of the 50 states of the United States of America. The bill dramatically expands legislative oversight of the AGDC, of Alaska Gasline Development Corporation, and the LNG project. It requires legislative approval for major transactions, limits confidentiality agreements that are standard in international energy deals, and forces public disclosure of ownership, financing, lenders, and even customers purchasing gas. It also gives the state the ability to take control of a project after construction with legislative approval. What is she thinking? Imagine asking private investors to risk tens of billions of dollars building a project while telling them the state might step in later and buy it out. No serious investor would accept those terms. Suzanne Downing has a way with words. And I'm glad somebody else is saying it. This, for some reason, I mean, I can't imagine that this bill has any ability to pass the legislature. It probably doesn't even get out of the Senate. So it begs the question, why in the world do you create a bill like this? I mean, in my opinion, the damage is already done. Just having the bill out there and having a conversation, having to defend it, having to promote it, right? Having people like me speak against it and elevating the conversation, right? Just putting it out there in the sphere adds instability. Because, I mean, if these people are in charge after the election next year, then you could see the bill get passed. If it's not going to get passed this year, then maybe next year. It just telegraphs that the legislature, at least part of it, is not a good partner for industry. So it begs the question, why create this bill? And I don't, other than to scuttle the project or some ulterior motive, I don't understand why. It makes no sense. There's no way, one, that the bill passes, and if it did, that you would have a project. Like the private enterprise is going to steer away. So the whole concept, the whole argument that you're making that we need more revenue, and that's why you're adding taxes, it doesn't hold water, because you won't have a project. You won't have a project. So you can think you're going to raise taxes, but you'll raise the taxes on no activity. Like, it's not going to happen. So it befuddles me. I am befuddled this Friday evening. I'm befuddled. We're going to keep our eyes on this because I think it's important. And I'm confident that the governor's not going to sign it. And I'm confident that there isn't enough votes in the legislature that it's going to pass. So there's a part of me that just says, okay, well, we can disregard and ignore this. The damage is already done. Maybe we should just be quiet about it. But we got to keep an eye on it, because you never know what happens. This legislature is crazy. Probably the best thing that you could do for the Gasline project, the best thing the legislature could do is gavel and go home. First, do no harm. Just pass your budget and get out of town, and let the powers that you've already put in place get this project done. Because if you go any direction of any of this, you're going to end up with reasons why the project shouldn't continue. It is that bad. I've never seen a worse piece of legislation. This is crazy. Even if it's a starting point for a conversation, what part of this would you want to keep? Like, it doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. Anyway, let me jump over here to my chat window and see what you guys have to say there. Good evening. Let's all do this. Good evening, all. Let's do this. Yes, let's do this show tonight. It's been a long week, and as you can tell, my tongue's tied. I'm about talked out. Snow just started falling on the interior. So we've gotten a few inches down here, maybe 3 or 4 inches today, and the wind's been blowing, so it's drifted quite a bit. Lucky that my tractor won't start, and I have no way to plow snow right now, probably till Monday. You ask, Ben, did you see the sad state of the only bid for Cook Inlet? Yeah. So that's what Representative Stapp was speaking about, is that there was only one. You may have come in late, but I played his floor speech, and when he was highlighting that we only had one entity interested in developing Cook Inlet, right? So, yeah, I saw it, and it's, if you didn't catch it, go back and either watch a speech on the floor on the legislative site or gavel, KTO gavel, or you can catch this recording because I pulled it out. It's, I don't know, a few minutes long. Anyway, he sums it up greatly. It's a problem for us. There you go, Ben. Fun Fridays. Yeah, I'm having fun. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's a kill a gas line. She's up for a re-election this year too. Can you believe that? There isn't a Republican challenger for this Republican legislator, this Republican senator. And I don't know what it would take for somebody in the oil and gas industry or a retired oil and gas person to, I don't know, can I speak bluntly? Get off your duff and run for her seat, run for that seat and unseat her. I mean, it's necessary. I don't care whether you want to do it or whether it's comfortable or whether it screws with your plans. Somebody has got to do it. Somebody has to do it. Lisa, better late than never. Thanks for joining us. Corey, same. You guys will have to catch the first minutes. I jumped right into Representative Stapp's speech. If you haven't seen it yet, he gave a pretty good speech on the floor yesterday regarding the Cook Inlet oil gas and the state of Alaska being good partners with industry. Why would anybody want to bid on something when they know they have to be partners with the state of Alaska? It's a legitimate question, especially when you have bills like HB 275 lurking out there that may get passed and change the ball game. I mean, oh, that's crazy. Anyway, that's about all I've got for Friday night. I can tell you, I'm ready to call it an evening tonight. If you didn't catch it, I spent 2 hours on Talk of the Kenai, filling in for Bob Bird on KSRM's 920 AM. Show's titled Talk of the Kenai. You can go to Radio Kenai and catch the podcast of that as well, if you so desire. If you haven't gotten enough of Ben by now, you can go there and listen to 2 hours of me talking about news articles and other things. And I did talk a little bit about, no, I talked a lot about 275 there as well. I mean, it isn't just that the bill is there and has no chance of passing, right? It would be easy to just say, disregard it. But the fact that it's even out there at all, you've got Republicans who are supposed to be, like, if you think about who's pro-development and who's not, people go to the ballot box and they just cast a vote for the Republican because they assume they're development. Surprise. I don't know what has changed, but she is obviously not pro-development. Not at all. Not even in the slightest. Like, this is anti-development. I don't know. Something doesn't make sense. It is the worst piece of legislation that I've seen come through the legislature probably ever, and maybe just for resource development, but maybe it's up there in the top 10 for worst piece of legislation ever. I don't know. But somebody needs to replace her, and I would encourage somebody in Anchorage in her district to jump in the race. And I don't know, if you got to take one for the team, look at the challenge that our military members, they put their life on the line and do what's right for the nation. I don't know. Can I guilt you? Can I guilt you into running for office and unseating her? Because obviously we need it. Anyway. Yeah, what did I say? I said KSRM, didn't I? Radio Kenai. Oh, can I pull it up real quick? Should be right here. Yeah, this is it. There you go. So you can go to KSRM's Radio Kenai, the podcasts link right up here in the upper right. And then Talk of the Kenai. And there I am, 3 to 5. Talk of the Kenai. First hour, second hour, that's all me. Anyway. All right. That's enough self-promotion. Look, if you've got friends and you think this has been valuable this week, say something to somebody. Say, hey, have you seen Oversight Live? And ask them to check it out. Send them a link on social media or send them a text. Be helpful getting the message out. Be helpful answering their questions if they've got them. We got to grow the pool of people who are participating in self-government in the state of Alaska. We need more quality people. I've been saying it since 2018-19 timeframe. It'll be 2019. We need to grow the pool of people who are participating. Big time. All right. Y'all are pretty quiet tonight, so I'm caught up on the texts. I don't have any questions here. Going once, going twice. You got any questions you want or directions we want to head next week? All right, folks. That's what I got tonight. I appreciate you joining me. We'll be back 7 p.m. Monday with more good stuff. So tune in. And thanks for everyone for helping us get over 100 subscribers this week. Couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all later. Have a good night.